Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Yo, it's the Pipeman, and we are here on Motivational Monday, Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman right here on W4CY Radio. And I have our resident expert on business with some powerful business strategies for us once again. So let's welcome to the show, Michael Barbarita. How are you?
Fantastic, Dean. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You know, I just got back in from LA, and before that, I went to prison at Shawshank Prison. You know the movie?
Yeah.
So yeah, we had to do an event at Shawshank Prison for a festival, and it was like one of the coolest venues. So now we're back, and we're ready to share some powerful business strategies.
There you go. So, one of the things that, if you recall from the 7-step profit formula, two of the steps, and that 7-step profit formula, once again, is that 20% that business owners should be working on that drives 80% of the revenue. And two of the things that are in the 7-step profit formula are average dollar per sale, increasing the average dollar per sale when per customer, as well as the frequency of sales. So if you sell to the same customer an average of 2 times, got to make it 3, got to make it 4. So one of the effective ways to do this is, and a lot of business owners are missing out on this, is cross sells, upsells, and downsells. Now, I'm going to give you a McDonald's example of how that works. But the one thing a lot of business owners are missing are the downsells. So let me just give you a quick example. So if you go to McDonald's and you order a hamburger, they'll ask you if you'd like fries and a Coke with that. Those are cross sells because they complement your existing product. They complement the hamburger in this case. And then an upsell would be supersizing it. That would be an upsell. It would be a higher, not necessarily a higher quality, but certainly maybe a higher quantity. So a higher quality or a higher quantity product or service. And then the downsell would be like a kid's burger, something that's below the regular hamburger. So that is basically an example. And what's great about it is what most business owners are missing. Some of them have cross sells, some of them upsells, but very few of them have downsells. When somebody can't afford something that you're offering, it's always best to have some type of lower level offering, whatever that may be, so that it's affordable. If in fact budgetary concerns are in play. So that cross sells, downsells, and upsells are a critical strategy if you want to increase frequency of sale as well as average dollar per sale. So it's with respect to how that strategy fits in. So like, for example, let me just take in my business. So we have one of our upsells. If somebody wants to have CFO services, one of our upsells is CFO services and strategic implementation, that combination. And then for a downsell, if they can't afford either CFO services or strategic implementation, we have a do-it-yourself program at a lower price for strategic implementation. We even have downsells below that where we have study guides and workbooks for people who just want to know about downsells, cross sells, and upsells for one low price. So that's an example. In a service business of utilizing upsells, cross sells, and downsells, and they can be utilized. And a lot of the times business owners forget to incorporate it as part of their sales process. When I get a business owner who's only doing $30,000 a year in sales, they're a startup, they're doing $30,000. I'm not going to sell them a $5,000 a month CFO services and strategic implementation program. Okay, I'm going to probably either give them the self-study in strategic implementation program, which, by the way, incorporates one meeting per month, so that we can make sure they're accountable for what they're doing. Because a lot of business owners will take the do-it-yourself and they won't do it themselves. So we keep them accountable with the once per month. And we give them a whole library of videos and workbooks so that they can perform these, implement these strategies. But if I didn't have that, or if someone can't, maybe someone who's doing $30,000 a year in sales can't afford $500 a month, I could give them, let's say, a workbook on how to develop a compelling offer, the 5 components of a compelling offer. So I should be able to sell something to somebody. That's the whole point. And
I agree with you too. It's like you can't just be cookie cutter. You have to customize something to suit the client's needs,
Right.
So not everybody wants, forget affordability for a second. Not everybody wants the full service,
Right.
so you got to take that into consideration too.
That's right. And I think that's the thing a lot of business owners miss. Because even somebody who does roofing, who's just thinking of the big, roofing plan, they can downsell people to repairs. If the people don't have the money to do the whole roof, they can also, just do around the chimney where there's a lot of leakage, in roofing industry. There's a lot of leakage around the roof, the chimney.
Yeah.
So they can make repairs and shore up the chimney. If in fact you could potentially keep a roof going another 5 or 10 years if you just patch up the weaknesses like the chimney. So that does, once again, if you don't have that in your arsenal, you're going to miss out on a sale, which is the whole point of being in business.
Yeah, and I have another perfect example of somebody I know. It just happened recently. They're getting new windows for their house, and so they didn't get all of the windows done because they couldn't afford the whole thing at once. So they did pick the windows they wanted to do, but then they're gonna do the other windows, okay? Because for a couple reasons, like you want it all uniform and stuff, but they're going to do it at a time when they have the money to do those. So instead of doing nothing, part of it's being done now, part is being done later. And then the company itself still in the long run ends up making the money and maybe even more money because it's done separately, and so the company benefits opposed to a company that's like, no, you have to get them all at once. And then they lose the sale.
Right. And what many people also miss is that once a customer buys from you, there's a 34% chance they'll buy something else if it's presented to them. So that is the frequency of sale that I'm talking about, where we don't realize that even if we sell an item for $9.95, that's a customer.
Yeah.
And that customer has a long-term value associated with it, as long as you continue to market to that customer.
And again, that is brilliant because I've done that my whole career where, like, even when I used to be in the investment business, and our firm minimum was $25,000. Well, some of my biggest clients in that business were people that I broke that rule and let them in for $4,000 or $5,000 or even less sometimes. But to your point, once they're a client, then there's that trust and that relationship that is already there. And the reason those clients became my biggest clients is because they probably had more money than the people that were starting with 25,000, but because they had more money, they want to test the waters first.
Sure. That's amazing. Yeah, no, and it works across all industries. It's not, it's not industry specific. We used hamburgers. We used my business, CFO services, and strategic implementation. We used your example in the financial services industry. So this formula of upsell, cross-sell, and especially downsell works in all types of industries and all times. So I think it once again, it's really valuable for both increasing the average dollar per sale, because you can upsell, and also the frequency of sale, because like in the example that I gave you, if I was able to downsell somebody all the way down to, let's say, the 5 components of a compelling offer workbook and study, once they bought that, they can now look at how to prepare, how to develop a position of market dominance, as another example.
Sure.
So it's continuous, and the relationship can last for years, and the lifetime value of a customer, which is a very important metric to follow, elevates. And one of the things about the lifetime value of a customer, when I was in the frozen cookie dough business, that was a critical metric for me, because my opening order was only $50. But I knew that once my customers started buying my cookie dough, that they would continue, because I believed in my product and it was a good product.
Yeah.
And so and that's why I was able to give away a $200 convection oven with every opening order, even though the only opening order was $50, because I understood that the long-term value of my customer was $5,000. And so the trade-off was $200 for $5,000. And so it's an easy decision. And that's why it's an important metric to understand.
Totally. 100%. How do people reach out to you to get more of this type of information?
Well, they can go to nextstepcfo.net. They can download my book for free called Powerful Business Strategies. What I'd love them to do is to have a book interview. The way they could do that is they go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the contact form, and in the message box, write the words book interview. And love to see what we do, Dean, is we update our book every year or so. Why? Well, there's higher inflation. There's tariffs now, right? There's interest rates. And we want to make sure we know our strategies work. We just like industry information to prove out what we already know. And so what happens is we keep speaking with business owners to make sure that we constantly update our book, and that the strategies for those particular industries are working.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we would love to interview them.
Well, that's beautiful. I love all that what you do. That's why you're on the Positively Pipeman segment. And this one I loved especially because I think is very important for every business to know and every salesperson to know, because there's so many salespeople out there that I train that, they either go for all or nothing. And usually what's in between the all or nothing are what end up your biggest clients, your most sales, your most average dollars, and long-term value.
There you go. Totally agree.
Well, thanks once again for being on the Positively Pipeman segment of the Adventures of Pipeman right here on W4CY Radio. And we look forward to hearing from you again.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.